Israel's first king, 1 Samuel chapter 8 through chapter 10. When Samuel was an old man, God's people said, "We want a king to rule over us." Samuel asked God for help. God told Samuel to warn the people about the trouble a king could bring. A king would make the young men join his army, and the people would have to give the best things that they owned to support a king. Samuel warned the people, but they still would not listen. Then God told Samuel to give them a king. God led Samuel to a man named Saul. Samuel poured oil on Saul's head. This was a sign that Saul was God's choice to be their new king. Saul hid because he was very shy. The people found him. Then Samuel said, "Here is your king." Everyone cheered and shouted, "Long live the king!" Saul was a good king for about 20 years. Then he began to disobey God. God was sorry that he'd made Saul the king. Samuel was sad about it too. 1 Samuel 8. In the beginning, Saul was obedient. Saul was respectful. Saul was polite. Saul was humble. Saul had a heart that loved God. He had a good heart. After about 20 years, Saul changed. He became disobedient. He listened to the voice of people and only partly obeyed God. Saul became a man-pleaser, not a God-pleaser. Saul suffered from selfism, the desire to have his own way. Selfism leads us away from God. Saul had bouts of anger, rage, and depression. Saul had a bad heart. God was sorry that he'd made Saul the king. Samuel was sorry about it too. I am sorry that I made Saul king. He has turned away from following me. 1 Samuel 15:11.